And there's only one person that can do the job. Daffy Duck.
The duck?
Hi, Eric. How are you?
I'm okay, Doc. How are you? I'm better now that you're here.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Whenever you see Dave Lee, it's always good news. Hopefully. Woohoo!
Well, it's lovely to see you again and speak to you again in a sort of a longer format here today, which is great. The movie is amazing. I spoke the last time we spoke was before the premiere of the film in Queensland, but now I've had a chance to see the film. Man, it's everything.
Exactly. And, I know you're, and of all the folks that I've ever had a chance to speak with, I always look forward to hearing from you, because I know you're such an aficionado and expert on all things animation, but especially a lover of these characters, and for everything that you do to inform people on the whereabouts of these characters, the status. The next projects down the road. Yeah, have you seen
this duck? Yeah, I'm a missing rabbit. Who framed Bugs Bunny?
Yeah, it's kind of nice to know that you're a go-to source, a reliable source for everything related to these characters. So having a chance to actually talk to you on the positive side of no decimations to be had in this conversation, it's good. I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it, and I'm going to ask what the reception was when we were at Warner Brothers World when you saw it with a crowd of people.
Oh, it was fantastic. The just uproarious laughter, so many smiles on the faces leaving the theater, and it was, like I said, it was everything. It's like in 2025 and seeing that kind of reaction to the Looney Tunes, which, let's be honest, the studio has been given a bit of a shaft recently, is amazing. The people still love these characters and the stories are still enjoyable and funny and relevant, despite what some others may think. But it was an amazing, and especially being at Warner Brothers Movie World, the home of the Looney Tunes here in Australia. I mean, it was perfect. Yeah.
I'm about this close to breaking my piggy bank open and buying the franchise myself.
I mean, that would be in a perfect world. But yeah, people often forget, and it just goes to show that there's a global demand for these characters, not just here in the U.S., but Australia, Asia, anywhere and every, the UK, everyone in the UK is asking for it. So, it's for everyone, not just us.
Yeah, well, these characters have always been for everyone, and I think they were created they created in the era coming out of silent animation and really the big boom of sound and color and all of that. And I think a core to these characters that they're still very silent at nature with the slapstick comedy, particularly the very early cartoons. When we're talking about the Porky and the Daffy stuff, the Wacky Duck and all of that. I think the core of that is to relate to everyone with that kind of comedy and that kind of storytelling, and that's a through line that has gone through the franchise for near 100 years.
Oh yeah, and I think that's why they will remain, for 100 more years, because at the core, each character kind of is just a slice of real people, relatable situations. We all know it. We all have a friend like Daffy. We all have a friend like Porky. Some of us are Bugs. Some of us are Coyote. I didn't eat today. That's every time I don't eat, I think about Coyote. I'm like, well, he hasn't eaten in 90 years. I missed one meal. He's missed like an entire lifetime of food. And that's why I think that's why we go back, and it's just it's like going to see your favorite singer perform a concert.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the classics, which as we had discussed, the same weekend you release a big picture like this. Unfortunately, in recent tradition with Warner Brothers, is they have the worst headlines, which is like, hey, they also removed this, but about it too, in a way. I'm like, well, if their main focus is adult content on that specific place,
Hmm.
then would it be worth more to create more DVD compilations for the people who really want it and
Yeah.
really do a good job on those versus, maybe on streaming where it might not be if that's the harsh reality we have to face as Looney Tunes fans. I mean, I don't know the view count on those,
Hmm.
but you would think that, okay, you just watched this movie, you're about to go home, and if your kid is like, I want to watch more Looney Tunes, you're either gonna have to buy it probably off of Amazon, like which is fine, but you would think, hey, it's on HBO Max maybe, and
Yeah.
it's not. So it's tough. It's that part of the business that I don't have a seat at that table, but I continually work post Coyote and post Day the Earth Blew Up. So just know that if you are watching this or if you are reading this or listening to this, that they haven't given up just yet. They're not throwing in the towel. I ain't through, Doc. I may be 80, almost 90 years old, but I still got some chutzpah in me. So they're still making stuff, which is a positive thing to look forward to.
Yeah, for sure. Despite all sorts of rumors flying around at the moment, which we won't sort of get into, but
Oh, I'm all game. You can talk to me about it.
oh yeah. Well, the one rumor I've heard this week is that Warner Brothers is selling the characters off. I haven't even reported on this because
they've off. I mean, that's a rumor that I've heard of. I heard as well recently, but also a rumor that apparently has existed for a
yeah,
long time. And it would be really weird to see them, purchased by the mouse.
Mhm.
But at the same time,
It's one step closer to Who Framed Roger Rabbit 2.
That's very
if you give us that, then go ahead, take them.
true.
I will gladly walk around your theme park in a Daffy Duck costume. Uh, if only it gets us closer to Who Framed Roger Rabbit 2. And now you have that recorded somewhere.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the headline. That's the grab from this, isn't it?
Eric has a Daffy Duck costume already, like at his house. Like, what's wrong with that guy?
I think
Yeah.
I think that the characters are, and I guess not a lot of people probably realize this, but the Warner studio is built on the back of these characters. They were a fledgling studio in the late 1920s, and Disney had the success with Mickey Mouse and all of that, and Warner said, "We need our own. We need our own cartoon characters." And it was through the success of the Looney Tunes that essentially built the studio up. And I think it would just be very weird to see Bugs Bunny in front of a different. I mean, he's synonymous with the Warner Shield. The characters popping out of the Shield, Porky Pig, that's all folks, that kind of thing. It's like it would be very weird to see them somewhere else. I can't ever see that being a reality.
So I had a conversation with someone the other day. May have even been as recent as yesterday. I don't even know. At the pace of press that I'm doing these days, I feel
Yeah.
like any minute now my brain's gonna fall out of my ear. But it was like, okay, make a really good Looney Tunes movie like once every 5 years. Make like straight to DVD stuff, like maybe a few in a year, and then have something. Whether this the idea was this. I fell in love with these characters in the 90s when they were in syndication and rerun.
Yeah.
And that was just because of the existing library. Why not do a new throwback show, a new rerun show that has new interstitials
Yeah.
to introduce certain cartoons? That would be a dream right there. And then don't forget to make toys and merch, like that's how the studio makes money. There was a point in time when the studio was worth $80 billion, and that was because when you saw someone walk down the street with a Bugs Bunny hoodie or a t-shirt or a hat, you could only get it at one place, and that was the Warner Brothers store.
Mhm.
And I understand licensing, and I understand getting it out there, and I understand people will pay $5 for a Bugs Bunny shirt from Walmart or $500 for a Tommy Hilfiger hoodie. Guilty. I've done it. My son will not go to college for at least 2 years because of dad's bad spending habits. but I feel like there's a way to really keep the characters alive without breaking the bank and
Yeah.
without, uh, and without breaking the bank, but also keeping people that care about the characters employed,
Mhm.
making art and doing fun stuff with the characters. Because, you know, like you said, they're the foundation of not just the studio with the Shield, but an entire industry. And 90 years later, we're here having a sound conversation about these exact characters, and it's because people care, and it's because they're worth fighting for.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
I know that you and I will be having this conversation when we're 80,
I know.
on whatever service, a hologram or whatever it is that we chat on in the future. But I'm glad that we had this conversation.
Yeah, me too. I think our time is rounding up, and I should ask a question about the movie because that'll keep the publicists and the distributor happy. And this is the same question I asked you when we spoke at Queensland because I think, and I loved your answer to this. And that's it. This is the first, believe it or not, as we said, a near 100 years of existence of these characters. And this is the first ever feature-length, wholly original, fully animated Looney Tunes movie. A lot of caveats there. But this is a very important film. You've been voicing the Looney Tunes for around 15 years, maybe a little bit more officially, and have been an obsessive fan since you were a kid and have been doing the voices since you were a kid. I imagine landing this role felt like a culmination of everything you've done so far. It must be just so important to you in this film particularly.
Oh, absolutely. And it's because of how much the characters have impacted my life. I
Mm.
will never impact Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes have only ever impacted me, and all I could ever do and hope for is to hold up the mantle of people like Mel Blanc and Bob Clampett and the rest of the Golden Age crew for generations to enjoy and to remind them of of who these characters are and hopefully shape their lives and hopefully influence them to become
The next Bugs Bunny. Who knows, Doc?
stranger things have happened, and I'm living proof. So, if anything, it's worth a watch on the big screen to take you out of the mundane 9 to 5 lives that we lead, and for 90 minutes just sit in a room with your family or your friends or complete strangers. I took my son to watch it for the first time. That wasn't a screening related to work. We went to just the Regal Cinema here, and we sat, and it was a 6 p.m. on a Sunday, and the room was pretty packed. And at the credits, the most beautiful thing was looking back, seeing a family, mom, dad, son, two daughters, dancing to like the merry melodies, like dancing. I was like, I don't even dance for these guys, and these guys are having such a good time. So, I was like, okay, thank you for that.
So great. And again, such a wonderful film, and it is worth seeing on the big screen. It's got the heart of those classic, but essentially, as I mentioned, those very early Porky Daffy team up cartoons. It goes right back to the heart of it, and everything's just so perfect. It really is a wonderful film. I'll wrap this up now because I've run out of time. I've actually probably gone over time a little bit here. I do apologize for that. But yeah, thank you for your time. It's been awesome speaking to you, and hopefully we'll speak again soon.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's all, Dave.
See you later. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.